Shabbat Shalom. Doesn't it seem like it was just Shabbat? It's already here again, and here we are together. So once again, I want to invite you to breathe, to take a moment to breathe in and then breathe out all the stuff from the week. And before we start Elohai Neshama, if you're looking for it, it's on page 99. I offer this by Elaine Gilner Friedman. As I breathe, may I receive. May I be surrounded in the protective glow of divine light. May I allow myself to feel and absorb the divine presence. As I breathe, may I receive. We turn to page 141, Psalm 150. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. We rise, we turn to page 143, third line from the left, Ozi v'zimrat Yah. Ozi v'zimrat Yah, vayehi li lishua. 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 Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. What a pleasure to share this Shabbat with you. I want to thank Chazan Mimi for just helping us take that breath to start the day anew, to bring in a sense of holiness and sanctity, just to have that that presence in our lives. And so we've been focusing on the beginning part of the service. It's really the beginning is part of the feeling of waking up as an individual, feeling about yourself, your body. We have prayers that blessings that remind us about our body and going forward and starting the day. And the beginnings, if we didn't do the Berachot HaShachar, the blessings themselves, but they are in the first person about the individual. And you can imagine people used to recite those at home and focused on themselves. And then they would come to the synagogue, and then they'd have a sense of the community, sense of being together with others. And that's what this Zoom experience is about, to let us know that you can still join in together and feel holiness of community, even when we physically can't be there. The Baruch Hu is that prayer, which is a reminder that community must be together. To feel God's full sense of holiness. The Zan begins by calling out that prayer and that blessing, and then we respond, acknowledging our role as a community. We're going to rise together. The Baruch Hu you're going to find if you're in our Lev Shalem prayer book, you're going to find that on page 149.
Yalla lai lai, yalla la lai, yalla lai lai la 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 lai, yalla lai lai, yalla la lai, yalla lai lai la 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach. Your turn. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai la 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 lai lai. Yalla lai lai la 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 lai. Yalla lai la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yotzer or uborei choshech Oseh shalom uborei et hakol Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue our service now with Or Chadash, page 153.
And this, you're going to hear a lot about the menorah, the candelabra in the temple. And so, Or Chadash, a new light. So, how about this little light of mine? Or Chadash, Al Zion Ta'i. Or Chadash, Al Zion Ta'i. Or Chadash, Al Zion Ta'i. V'nizkeh kulanu me'era le'oro. Or Chadash, Al Zion Ta'ir. Or Chadash, Al Zion Ta'ir. Or Chadash, Al Zion Ta'ir. V'nizkeh kulanu me'era le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMe'orot.
As we start preparing for the Shema, working up to the Shema, we'll continue with Ahava Rabbah on page 154.
Ahava Rabbah ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Shabbat V'tera Chamalta Aleinu Ahavinu Malkeinu Ba'avur Avoteinu Shabbatchu V'cha Avinu Malkeinu Batelamdim Chukei Chayim Ken Tichonenu T'lamedeinu Avinu Ha'av Harachaman Amrachem Rachem Aleinu V'ten belibeinu lehavin u'lahaskil lishmoa le'lemod u'lelamed lishmor v'la'asot u'lekayem et kol divrei Talmud Toratecha ve'ahava Ereninu b'toratecha v'dabek lebeinu b'mitzvotecha v'yached levaveinu le'ahava u'lira et shemecha v'lo nevosh le'olam va'ed v'lo nevosh לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא פתחנו נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך.
I'd like us to take a moment, and if you're comfortable, to close your eyes and just listen. What sounds do you hear? Do you hear other people in your house? Maybe somebody's talking in the next room over, somebody's listening to something, banging together pots and pans, or maybe your house is quiet. Maybe you have a window open and you hear something outside. You hear some birds chirping, you hear some wind going by. Take a moment and notice all of those sounds. Notice it all. Listen. That's what the Shema asks of us, to listen. Now I'd like you to take a moment and reflect on when maybe you didn't listen this week. When were your ears closed? When were you so busy doing other things that you were maybe unable to hear, unable to listen? We all need that reminder to slow down, turn off everything else, and just listen. As we prepare for the Shema, we'll bring together the four corners of our tzitzit. We're on page 154 at the red triangle.
והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו כי אל פועל ישועות אתה ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון וקרבצנו לשמך הגדול לשמך הגדול סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל
We have Nathan Garrett with us this morning, who is preparing for his bar mitzvah coming up, and he's going to be leading us in the Shema. We're on page 155 in the Siddur Lev Shalem, and Nathan will lead us.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך ובטפתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
We continue to ourselves at the top of page 156. Nathan will continue in the middle of page 156 with Vayomer.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta alehem ve'asu lachem tzitzit al kanfei vigdehem ledorotam v'natnu al tzitzit, hakanaf petio techelet, v'chaya lachem, letzitzit, uritem oto, ushchartem et kol mitzvo Adonai, ve'asitem otam, ve'lo tatu, acharei levavhem, ve'acharei einehem, asher atem zonim achareihem. Laman tizkeru, ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'hitem kadoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzetiehem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Excellent job. We'll continue our service now on page 158 with Micha Mocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא, תהילו עושה פלא. Sing with me. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא, תהילו עושה פלא. שיר החדש שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא, תהילו עושה פלא. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופניכם ומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני, גואל ישראל.
We'll begin the Amidah together on page 159.
ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מחכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורו, ומידו מלך, מלך מאיר ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, המתים מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מערוב. ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה, ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ כבודו.
אז בכל רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול מנזים למטרפים.
אז בכל רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול. אז בכל רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול. מתנסים לעומת סרפים, מתנסים לעומת סרפים, מתנסים לעומת סרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
בכל המכיר טובים ולמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לעד.
ממקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו, ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. איי איי איי, מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו, בקרוב בימינו, לעולם ועד ישכון. תיגדע ותתגדע בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, ולנצח נצחים. איי איי איי, ועינינו תראנה, תראנה מלכותך. כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד, על ידי דוד, משיח צדקך. על ידי דוד, על ידי דוד, משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה, לדור ודור. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הכבוד.
We'll continue davening the Amidah to ourselves through page 166 in the Hebrew, in the English, or whatever prayers are in your heart.
ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד, כולנו כאחד באור פניך. ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד, כולנו כאחד באור פניך. אבינו כולנו כאחד, כולנו כאחד באור פניך. ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד, כולנו כאחד באור פניך. לה 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 לה
We continue with Kaddish Shalem, page 167.
יגדל ויגדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח חירותי, וימלך מלכותי בחייכון, ובימיכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבם מבורך, לעלם לעלמי עלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ותרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעיל אמינך בכתב ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דמרן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ותהון כל בית ישראל כל דוב מן שמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרמיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
As we prepare to begin the Torah service and virtually, spiritually take the Torah out of its ark, we'll continue with Ki Mitzion on page 168.
Ki Mitzion, say Torah, Dvar Adonai b'Yerushalayim, B'Tzion, say Torah, Dvar Adonai b'Yerushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael. Baruch Shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael. Kedusha tov Yitzion. Say Torah, Dvar Adonai b'Yerushalayim. B'Tzion, say Torah, Dvar Adonai b'Yerushalayim.
I'd like to spend a few minutes this morning talking about second chances. We all make mistakes, none of us is perfect. So we need second chances in order to do better. And the question, of course, is who deserves a second chance? Who should be eligible to receive the opportunity for a do-over? And our parsha this week gives us a great example of a second chance, Pesach Sheni, second Passover. On the day the Passover arrived and all the Israelites were supposed to bring the Passover offering, some people were impure. They had come into contact with a dead body, making them impure, unable to bring an offering. So they came before their leaders, Moses and Aaron, and they asked for help. They needed a second chance. Moses asked God on their behalf, and God granted them, Pesach Sheni, a second chance to celebrate Passover for anyone who was impure the first time around. So we know that these people who were impure on Passover deserved a second chance. But the question is why? By what criteria were they evaluated? From this passage, I think we can learn two criteria for deserving a second chance. Let's look closely at the text. We know that they became impure specifically by coming into contact with a corpse, not by any other method of contracting impurity. So the commentators want to know how that happened. Basically, whose corpse was it that they came into contact with? So the commentators go through the possible options. First, they say, well, we know that the Israelites in the desert were carrying Joseph's remains with them to Israel. So maybe these impure people were the ones responsible for carrying that ark with Joseph's remains. But then they realize, actually, that can't be the case, because the Israelites had been stationary in that spot where they celebrated Passover since the first of the month. So anyone who was carrying Joseph's remains would have had enough time to purify themselves before Passover. So on to the next possibility. Then they say, well, maybe these impure people were the ones responsible for carrying the remains of Nadav and Avihu. Remember them, Aaron's sons, who'd offered this strange fire to God and then were consumed by God? But once again, the commentators realize, actually, that's also impossible. We know that Nadav and Avihu died on the first day of Nisan, so the people carrying those remains would have had plenty of time to complete their purification. They would have completed their purification by the 8th day of that month, plenty of time before Passover. So the mystery remains. How did these people become ritually impure? Whose corpse did they come into contact with? Our commentators say that there's only one answer left that makes logical sense. A person died who had no relatives who were able to bury them. So these people took it upon themselves to take care of the burial. That's why they were impure at the time Passover began. Then, once they'd performed the mitzvah of kavod hamet, honoring the dead, they were upset to realize that this action disqualified them from another mitzvah, observing Passover. So they took matters into their own hands once again, and they sought out a second chance. They approached Moses and Aaron, begging for an opportunity to observe Passover, and they succeeded. They were granted a second chance, Pesach Sheni. So how did God know that these people were deserving of a second chance? I think they fit two important criteria. First, they missed their first chance for a good reason. In their case, they were busy performing another mitzvah, arranging a burial for someone who had no relatives to bury them. This isn't necessarily the only good reason for missing one's first chance at something. Sometimes we miss our first chances because we didn't even know that they existed. Perhaps we hadn't learned about it yet, and by the time we become aware, the first chance has passed us by. And there's one more criterion. The second is that they actively sought out an opportunity for a second chance. They took initiative. They cared enough about having missed their first chance to celebrate Passover that they approached their leaders to request a second one. And so they were successful. They were deemed deserving of a second chance. When do we need second chances? And when do we deserve them? I wonder if our time at home during this coronavirus pandemic can actually be considered a second chance in disguise. A second chance to reconnect virtually with the people we've lost touch with because our lives have become so busy. A second chance to learn a new hobby or skill while we're at home. A second chance to prioritize family time. A second chance to reevaluate what is most important in our lives. What is your second chance, and how will you make the best of it? We'll continue as we start reading Torah with the blessing we always say when we learn Torah together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. We'll begin with the first aliyah. We have Debbie Strom, who's going to be reading for us. That is Numbers chapter 8, verse 1. And if you're following along in the Eitz Chaim Chumash, that's page 816.
Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el Aharon ve'amarta elav, v'halotecha et hanerot el mul penei hamenorah, ya'iru shivat hanerot. Vayas Cain Aharon el mul penei hamenorah he'ela neroteha ka'asher tziva Adonai et Moshe. V'zeh ma'aseh hamenorah miksha zahav adirecha ad pircha miksha hi kamar asher hera Adonai et Moshe Cain asa et hamenorah.
Yasher Koach, Debbie, what a pleasure. So here's a question for you. What do you think is a better motivator in life for people? Is it fulfilling people's personal needs? One might say they're selfish, but things that they want and need to have things in their lives, one. Two, a feeling of being needed by others, or a larger sense of connection to others. Well, we can learn something from our parsha about this question in Bahalotcha. So I'm going to share a little bit of the text here. Rabbi Galko is much better at it than I am, but let's see what I can do to share as well. Oh, is it up there? Oh, there we go. How about that? All right. So this is a story. Israelites are about actually to try and go into the land. And this is right before they're about to leave Mount Sinai. And it's about the story of Yitro, which here is going to be a question of, his name will be Chovav. So here we go. I'm going to read the text. And Moses said to Chovav, son of Reuel, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, we are setting out for the place of which the Lord has said, I will give it to you. Come with us and we will be generous with you, for the Lord has promised to be generous to Israel. Now, I want you to notice here in the text, come with us and we will be generous with you. All right, we'll get back to that in a moment. For the Lord has promised to be generous to Israel. And what does Chovav respond? He says, I will not go, he replied, but we return to my native land. He wanted to go home to his people. He wanted to feel that connection. What happens next? Moses says, please do not leave us, inasmuch as you know where we should camp in the wilderness and can be our guide. Now, there's no response by Yitro here, Hovav, but the rabbis imagine, right, that now Moses is trying to plea again, a third time, for him to come with them. So if you come with us, we will extend to you the same bounty that the Lord grants us. Right? And then they're going to march forward from Mount Sinai. So what are we going to learn from that text about our own personal needs, about the things that we want? Well, I want you to think about the series of appeals that were made by Moses. Right? What's the first one? It's about financial reward. We will be good to you. Now, according to Nachmanides, he says, we will treat you well. And without specifying what that meant, Yitro took, and what the assumption might be, is Yitro thought he would receive a portion of spoils, gold and silver, garments, flocks and cattle, but he would not have an inheritance among Bnei Israel. Those are the words of Nachmanides. So appealing to his personal need. But what does Yitro do? He declines the offer and says, I will not go. I'm going to return to my native land, to my people. I just feel a disconnect and I want to go back. Now, what's the second appeal? Next, Moses says to Yitro to accompany them by telling him that he can be of great service as a guide. It's a utilitarian appeal of, we need you in order to succeed. Now, you think that would make people feel special. I'm needed by other people. But I have to tell you, the rabbis in their view of this text see him declining again, Yitro, to go. What's the third appeal? Now, it's translated in Sepharia, the text I showed you, and the Eitz Chaim Chumash, our own Chumash. So if you come with us, we'll extend you the same bounty that Lord grants us. Now, in another more literal translation of the Koran Bible, it says, and I shall be, and I shall be, it shall be, if you go with us, that what good the Lord shall do to us, the same will we do to you. So what's this third promise about? According to the rabbis, it's a promise of land itself within Israel. Instead of promising wealth, it's a promise of community. When Yitro responds to Moses about wanting to return to his land, we understand what Yitro really wants. It's not wealth. It's not even about feeling needed by other people, this utilitarian purpose, but rather he wants his descendants and for him to have a sense of community. He wants to ensure his descendants will have the ability to hold on to their heritage, not to feel like outsiders. By the way, this was the great promise of America, of which we're still trying to figure out. Just as Yitro wanted his descendants to share in the great Israelite dream of connection, the divine promise of the Israelites in the promised land, many groups came to America wanting to be part of the American dream, to feel that sense of a sacred purpose. It's not about being needed. It's not about personal fulfillment, but it's about a greater attachment. Did the appeal of wanting to be part of the Israelite dream work on Yitro? Did he go with them or not? The text doesn't tell us. It simply says they marched forward. Who's the they? According to rabbinic tradition, Yitro actually went along with the Israelites. According to one tradition, he converted. Of course, wouldn't our rabbis like to see that, right? Anybody, right? They're going to convert. They love it. By the way, they point out hence the use of the name Chovav, because it's a reflection of a change. When you convert in Jewish tradition, you change your name. And Chovav means beloved. Another rabbinic tradition based on biblical references of the Kenites entering the land and Israelites actually can find strong evidence that Yitro, the descendants, became the Kenites. Namely, that their fate was tied together in the promised land as Moses had promised. What do we learn from our portion? More than financial success, more than feeling useful. The great desire of individuals is to feel accepted and to be part of a larger united purpose. We're going to continue with our Torah reading now. And we're going to go to Kevin Longobarth, who's going to join us as we continue with our Torah reading.
וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, קח את הלווים מתוך בני ישראל, ותיארת אותם, וכל תעשה להם לטהרה, הזה עליהם מחטאת, והעבירו טהרה על כל בשרם, וכיבסו בגדיהם ויטהרו. ולקחו פר בן בקר, ומנחתו סולת לולב השמן, ופר שני בן בקר תיקח לחטאת, והקרבת הלווים לפני אוהל מועד, והקלת את כל עדת בני ישראל.
Thank you so much, Kevin. We're at the time in our service now when we'd like to say prayers for those in need of healing. And we know that so many of us need so much healing now, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual. We all could use healing, and we all know lots of people who need healing. Let's hold all of them in our hearts and minds as we join with Hazan Mimi in a special song today with words actually found in this week's Parsha, El Na Rifan Allah.
In it, it's in the parentheses. El na rifana lanu. El na rifana lanu. Dear God of our ancestors, dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith, help us renew our faith, grant us a perfect healing, grant us a perfect healing, bring peace to all our days, bring peace to all our
This week, we're praying for the healing of Naomi Bat Sarah, Elon Shayot, Beverly Bowie, Susan Stavis, Dina Bat Yocheved, Vivian Azus, Chaim Ben Sarah, Rivka Bat Carmela Vidov, Tova Bat Chana, Sarah Leah Bat Asna Belka, Chaya Gabriela Bat Galia, Leah Bat Abraham Visara, Pearl Perlman, Aaron Ben Aviva, David Ben Chaya, Tzvi Ben Ada, Malka Bat Charna, Sarah Bat Fruma Rivka, Laletha Lackey, Trudy Callis, David Yosef Ben Chaim Velvel Pesach Nechoma, Livia Bat Rachel, Miriam Bat Rivka Vechana, Mordechai David Ben Margalit, Ziso Ben Goldi, Leah Naomi Bat Hadassah, and of course, everyone who is suffering from the coronavirus and all of our frontline workers who are putting themselves at risk.
Restore our strength of body, restore our strength of body, help clarify our minds, help clarify our minds, refresh our tired spirits, refresh our tired spirits, rejuvenate our lives.
We'll continue now with the third aliyah that Kevin Longobarth will also be reading for us. This is found on page 817 if you have an Eitz Chaim Chumash, and it's Numbers chapter 8, verse 10.
V'krabtai Elohim lifnei Adonai, ושמחו בני ישראל את ידיהם עולמים. והניף אהרון את הלוויים תנופה לבני אדוני ואת בני ישראל, והיו לעבוד את עבודת אדוני. והלוויים יסמכו את ידיהם על ראש הפרים, את היקר חדד, ואת היקר לאדוני לכפר אוהבים. ועמדת את הלוויים לפני אהרון ולפני בניו, והנחת אותם תנופה לאדוני. והבדלת את הלוויים מתוך בני ישראל, והיו לי הלווים.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב במרו אמן. יש מרבם מבורך לעלם לעלמי הוויה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר בתרומה ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה במרו amen.
We'll continue now with the fourth Aliyah. We have Bob Epstein who's going to read for us. We're now in Numbers chapter 9, verse 12. And if you're following along at the Eitz Chaim Chumash, that's page 821. Oh, Bob, just make sure you unmute yourself.
לא ישירו ממנו עד בוקר, בעצם לא ישברו בו, ככל חוקת הפסח יעשו אותו, והאיש אשר הוא טהור ובדרך לא היה, והדל לעשות הפסח ונפרטה הנפש ההיא מימיה, היא קורבן אדוני, לא הקריב במועדו, חטאו יישא האיש ההוא, וכי יגור איתכם גר, ועשה פסח לאדוני, כחוקת הפסח, וכמשפטו כן יעשה. חוקת אחד יהיה לכם, ולגר ולאזרח הארץ.
Thank you so much, Bob. Thank you to all of our Torah readers. Really, we had Debbie Strom, Kevin Longobard, and Bob Epstein. Amazing, beautiful reading from all three of you, and we thank you so much for that. We are now bringing into our service, sometimes on Shabbat, we're bringing people into our service who are doing amazing things, helping to make the world a better place. And so today, who's been nominated is Laura Beth Sholkoff. And I can even see your background. You can share with us about the work you've been doing for Israel, helping to package food. So hi, Laura Beth, and will you tell us a little bit about the project that you're working on?
Yes, Rabbi, Shabbat Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom to my beloved Temple Aliyah community. And thank you so much for this honor. For the past several months, Every Thursday morning, I've been at the East Los Angeles YMCA volunteering with IsraAid to help with food packing and distribution in response to COVID-19. And each week I'm working with a team of volunteers, and I help to assemble 3,000 grab and go meals for families with school-age children, and also with the assembly of 300 fresh produce bags for low-income seniors. And it's a sampling of those 300 bags that you see behind me, and the bags are filled with typically apples and onions and potatoes and carrots. And sometimes there might be fresh cantaloupe, sometimes there might be fresh zucchini. That varies from week to week.
That's amazing. What inspired you to start volunteering with IsraAid?
Well, when I first heard that LA Unified would be closed, that all the schools would be closed due to the pandemic, I immediately thought about the students who receive their food from the district, who receive lunches and breakfasts from the district. And I was really concerned that, LA Unified is the second largest school district in the country, and about 500,000 children receive their food at school. That's 80% of the students in LA Unified are from low-income families and qualify to receive free breakfast, lunch, and sometimes even dinner. And I was worried, like, what would happen to these children? Would they go hungry? How would they receive this food? And I started researching, and I learned about IsraAid and that they were embarking on this effort here locally in Los Angeles. And IsraAid, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, and I wasn't that familiar with IsraAid originally either, IsraAid is actually Israel's leading humanitarian aid organizations. And they've operated since their founding about 20 years ago in 52 different countries. And right now, in response to the pandemic, they're in 15 countries. And they're helping some of the most vulnerable populations, such as low-income families, refugees, and also victims of natural disasters. And here in Los Angeles, it's people who have been hit hard economically by the pandemic.
Wow. It's amazing, an amazing organization, and amazing that you decided to give your time to be part of it. What do you think has been the most inspiring moment of your work with IsraAid? I'm sure there have been many, but if you had to pick just one, what do you think?
Well, we as a country are facing the greatest food insecurity since the Great Depression. And there is such a tremendous need. And when I first started volunteering, the line outside the Y stretched down the street and around the corner, and there were hundreds of people waiting for food because they were worried that we'd run out. And I think it's inspiring that no one is turned away. And sometimes in line, there'll be a young mother who's there waiting with her children. Sometimes it's a man who, after 10 years working at the same company, lost his job due to the pandemic. And each of them indicates how many people are in their family, and then they're given food. And it's inspiring. It's inspiring to know that I'm helping in some small way, and that I'm working with a group of people who also just want to help. And it feels good to do good.
Yeah, you're definitely helping in not just a small way, in a big way. And we at Aliyah are so proud of you, and glad to have you helping to make the world a better place. If other people want to get involved, how can they get involved in IsraAid?
Okay, I actually had here, I'm trying to see, I had a new background image that I had wanted to share where I had all of the information. But let's see, is it going to let me call that up?
Well, even if not, can they contact you? Will you help put them in touch?
Yeah, I just had, it's a link to the IsraAid website. But I'm happy to talk to everyone, but I just, because I would love to see more Temple Aliyah people involved, because I attended a meeting this past week, and there's a dire need for volunteers. Those were actually the words that were used. There's a dire need for more volunteers, and volunteers are ages 18 to 65, and maybe a college student who's home for the summer. Maybe you yourself have a flexible work schedule and will be able to work one morning or afternoon. And each week, I receive an email where I indicate my availability. So there is some flexibility even in scheduling from week to week. So even if you can't volunteer, you can help spread the word. There's opportunities here in Los Angeles and also throughout California. And I would just love to see more of you there. So please join me.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Laura Beth Shulkoff. And for everyone watching, if you know someone who is doing something amazing, inspiring, please send me an email and nominate them to be featured just like Laura Beth was. Oh, okay. We'll continue now. We're back in the Siddur, and we're continuing with the prayer for the state of Israel on page 178.
אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו. אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו.
Avinu Shabashamayim, bless the state of Israel, bless its land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy, and let us say Amen. We have with us Sue and Ed Visselman, who will be leading us in the prayer for our country. If you want to follow along, that's the first paragraph on page 177.
Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessings upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. God bless the United States of America.
Thank you so much to Sue and Ed Visselman for joining us, and to Laura Beth Shulkoff for joining us as well. We're continuing now with Ashrei, and we have Lily Davis here to lead us along with Chazan Mimi. We're on page 181.
Ashrei Yoshvei B'techa Odi Hallelu Chaselo.
Ashrei Ha'am Shekacha Lo, Ashrei Ha'am Shadonai Elohav.
Techila David, Aromimcha Elohecha Melech Overchash.
Gadol Adonai, Bechol Yom Avarchecha V'al Hashimcha Le'olam Va'ed.
Gadol Adonai Imkulo Me'od, V'bigdulato Ein Heker.
Dur L'dur Shabach Ma'asecha Uvrotecha Yagidu.
Hadar Kvod Hodecha, V'divrei Nifleotecha Asicha.
Be'ezuz Nerotecha Yomeru Uladcha Asaprena.
Zecherav Tuvecha Yabi'u, V'tzidkatecha Yarenenu.
Chanu V'rachum Adonai Rachapayim Ugdal Chased.
Tov Adonai Lekol, Rachama V'kol Ma'asav.
Yoduch Adonai Kol Ma'asecha V'chazidecha Yevarchucha.
Kevro Malchutecha Yomeru, Uvrata Yadaberu.
Lo di libnei hadam gevurota v'chvod hadar malchuto.
Malchutecha Malchut Kol Olamim, U'memshaltecha Bechol Dor Vador.
So mechadonai l'chol anofli v'zokef l'chol hakfufim.
Einecho Elecha Yasaberu, V'tanotin Lachem et Achlam Beito.
Poteach et yadecha u'masbir l'chol chai ratzon.
Tzadik Adonai Bechol Deracha, V'chasi Bechol Ma'asav.
Karov Adonai l'chol korav l'chol yishikra'uhu ve'emet.
Retzon Yerav Ya'aseh, Ve'et Shavatam Yishma V'yoshiem.
Shomer Adonai kol ohava ve'kol risha'im yashmid.
Tequila Adonai Yedaber Pi, Ve'varach Kol Bashar Shem Kodshel Le'olam Va'ed. V'anachnu nevarech Yamei Ata V'ad Olam, Hallelujah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lily. We're going to turn to Eitz Chaim, page 184. Please join with me. Eitz Chaim,
What a beautiful Torah service it was with all of our Torah readers. We're just so grateful for them, for Debbie Strom and Kevin Longabart and Bob Epstein, and to Laura Beth Sholkoff. It's just a beautiful, we've been trying to figure out a way to fill that Haftarah space in terms of something different and something meaningful. And the prophets always talked about change in the world and how do you make a difference. And so it makes sense that we would interview people who made a difference in the world, and that we should inspire to follow in their lead. The introduction that Rabbi Galko gave to the Torah, the Devar Torah, it's so interesting. We were both sort of thinking of the same theme as I thought about the Musaf. She talked about second chances and whether in fact the coronavirus has given us a second chance, if you will, to reflect and to think about the way that we want life to be different. And Musaf means addition. And it makes us think about what are the additional things that we want in our life. And it makes us think about what's unique. In fact, the Musaf service was always very specific to whether it's Shabbat or holidays or whatever that moment is. And even the name of the holiday is inserted whenever we have a Musaf or holidays. And why? To acknowledge what that additional piece, what's unique and that we can bring into our lives. And I think as we think about what the pandemic is going to mean to us, as we continue to figure out the ways of transitioning back into society and still being very careful, the question we want to continue to ask is, what are we going to take with us? What additional pieces of life that we can take? And the Musaf services we have on our Shabbat now, we won't engage in the prayers itself. If you wish to pray silently in the Hebrew or English, you'll be able to find that in the Musaf service. And if I can, find the page 185. And if not, whether it's Hebrew or English, or if you just want your private meditational prayers, we're gonna get a little bit of musical background from the Chazan, and it'll be a moment to either turn to the prayers, turn to your soul, to find what's unique, additional in your lives that we can find in our sacredness as we continue now with our Musaf service. Hadith Shalem, we continue.
Yitkara v'yikara shemei rabba. V'yamadi brachen rutei v'yamlich machutei v'ayachonu v'yamachonu v'chayerecho beit Yisrael. V'agalau v'zman kari v'imeru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach. Le'alam lamei hamaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitchaman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei kudashah v'richu le'ela mikobakata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alema v'yimeru. Amen. Titkabal salotona v'atahon decho Yisrael kodama v'hon devishmaya v'imeru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'elko Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'elko Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
We're going to turn now to Aleinu and Lexi Weisberg. Hi, Lexi. I miss you so much.
I miss you too. Good morning.
Oh my goodness, we almost had a bat mitzvah, and then we almost had a different bat mitzvah, and now we're going to have a different one, right? But we remember that you're on the process here of working, and we're just so proud of you. And we know that in these difficult times, right, it's not always easy, but we always love your smile. And you're going to lead us in Aleinu, right? You lead us. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adam hakol v'teku la'alotzer b'reishit shelo asani ki yecha ratzon v'lo samanik mishpachot adama shelo samcha keinu kachem v'gor aleinu kehol chamona v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMalchim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Netei Shamayim V'Yosed Aretz U'Moshe B'Karo B'Shamayim Imal U'Shinatu Zo V'Gavchei Meromim U'Eloheinu Einu Emet Malkeinu Efesulato Kagatu v'Torato v'Datayon v'Hashavota elevavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim imah v'al haaretz mitachat eino kaka. Kagat. What? Kagatu v'Toratecha Adonai imloch l'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'chaga Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz v'yamchachu yeh Adonai echad u'shema echad.
Maybe seated. Thank you, Lexi. And you say hi to your dad. Something tells me he's right next to you somewhere in there. And he was helping out. And just know how much we miss you and your family and all the families around as well. And yeah, Yasher Koch, just so proud of you. Those of you who would like to now join us on the Zoom for Mourner's Kaddish, this is going to be your chance to log on to the Zoom part of the link. And that way you'll be able to join us as I start some announcements. Hopefully you've already prepared your lunch later on as we join together for Shabbat lunch, our virtual Kiddush luncheon. We're going to begin with prayers over Kiddush and Motzi. So we always hope that you'll join us after the services. Sunday night, that's tomorrow night. Oh my gosh, it's a big night. AGT, Aliyah's Got Talent. Now, apparently not everybody has realized that this is actually a major fundraiser for us. And so your donations are greatly appreciated as we've been struggling with coronavirus impacts in terms of all kinds of things in synagogue life, as all synagogues have. You can tonight, up till midnight, you can go on and you can make a donation. That will actually allow you to be able to watch the actual competition as Howie Mandel, one of my fellow judges, and Julie Devine, our president. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time with Howie. He's hysterical always. And we're going to have tonight, well, actually tomorrow, we'll announce the 5 finalists. Those will be the ones judged. And it's just going to be so great. But we need your donations, and you can donate in terms of the people that you like on the screen. You can watch their videos, and just anything is greatly appreciated. So donate, and then we'll see you tomorrow night. I promise you it's going to be great. Don't forget, we have an annual congregational meeting this Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. You'll be able to log on and find that information at aliyahlive.org, as you can with all of the programs that we have. I have a Thursday morning group that just meets to talk, those who are at home. We have Talmud study on Friday morning with Rabbi Galko, Lunch and Learn, where we do Parshat Tashua on Thursday at noontime, all kinds of things to do. And again, aliyahlive.org is your best resource. And by the way, even though the synagogue is closed, we're not. Clergy is there. Anybody who needs you, the best way is actually to email us, Rabbi Vogel at templealiyah.org, Rabbi Galko at templealiyah.org, Chazan Stein, Chazan Mimi, anybody that you need. We are here for you, and we'll get back to you quickly, we promise. Going to transition now into this moment of Yahrzeit. This is an important communal moment. It's one of the requirements of need to have a community together. And I see on screen people who are reciting Kaddish, and including Diana Vigil, who lost her sister just recently, and our hearts go out to her and to her family. And we pray that just seeing some of the people on the screen, the clergy and everybody, Diana will give you a sense of connection and of relationship, that you're not alone at this moment as you are in New Mexico, and just we're going to help you through this as well. For those who, on this Shabbat, we remember the Yahrzeits, the anniversary of the passing of the following individuals whose love and life are still very much felt today in the lives of their family. On this Shabbat, remember the Yahrzeits of David Goldberg, Rose Goldstein, Reva Jackson, Irving Kaftal, Etta Leventhal, Hugh Manis, Abraham Schwartz, Esther Silver, Paul Vinitsky, Helen Wagman, Walter Abramson, Avi Birkenfeld, Randy Fields, Mildred Pikus, Paul Saltzman, Arthur Spector, Beverly Ginsburg, David Hadar, David Lavin, Flor Shakivan, Bernice Zigman, Yoav Friedman, Bessie Geller, Benjamin Griefer, Sidel Schultz, Helene Tanneman, Harold Thorne, Robert Davis, Julia Greifer, Bryna Jabkowski, Francis Jacobson, Marie Kleinman, Sylvia Kleinman, Kenneth Michelson, Faye Perlman, Henry Skurnick, Julie Deach, Paula Klein, Joyce Lorch, Jean Mallet, Ira Reisman, Natalie Shearer, Jerome Selig, Hannah Sonnenbend, Louis Cohen, Harold Gerber, Marvin Gordon, Leslie Holos, Jay LeGrand, Edwin Mendelson, and Irving Talkner. For all those who are reciting Kaddish, and if you're reciting somebody whose name we didn't mention, I just want you to say their name aloud to yourself in relationship, and just to remember them. For those of us reciting the words of the Kaddish, we join together. Yit Gadal ve'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. Amen. Ve'alma divrach Yeruteh ve'amlich malchuteh v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Bagala v'zman kari v'meru amen. V'hei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'me'omaya. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yitalev, v'yithalal, shemei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata. Tamiran b'alma v'meru amen. Hey Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu, V'al Kol Israel, V'meru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Romav, Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael yimeru. Amen. Those of you, everyone else, you're welcome to join, to come into the Zoom room with us, those of you who wish. That way you can join us virtually for the Kiddush and prayers and other things that we're going to be doing. So if you want to, that means you'll get off of the live streaming and then you'll log on to the Zoom. We know there's a little bit of delay in that. And so we're going to show a little video and then we'll do a little song before we actually get to the Shamru. Here we go, a little bit of energy. Oh, they're so great, those kids. They're fabulous. Do a little bit of nigun, some melody before we actually begin the actual blessings.
שמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי שבת sing with us. Ah, words are easy. I, V'shameru, v'shameru b'nei Yisrael et Hashabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריבונם.
Al Kain Berach Adonai et Yom HaShabbat Vayikadshehu Savri Chavirai.
Chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. So now I'm going to wash my hands. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Very important challah cover. Thank you, Irene. And together. And everybody grab the challah if you don't have your own. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Shabbat
Everybody, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Yes,
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat.